Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Back, guys, from the break, and we're going to get straight into this episode. So, this topic is going to be about the art of doing nothing, why rest is the missing key to your success. So, you guys know how I like to do these things. I have 5 points. I'm going to go through all of them, and that will be the episode. So, let's get started. So, the first point is the productivity trap, how society glorifies constant hustle but ignores the fact that rest is essential for long term success. Overworking leads to burnout, not breakthroughs. This is super important because you may think that the more hours you put in, the better work you're going to accomplish. This is not always the case, especially if you are in a field that requires you to be creative. Because if you're constantly hustling, constantly working on the next task and the next one after that, you'll realize that it will be very difficult to be creative. And I notice this the most within my content because I was posting content consistently for so long that I never gave myself some time to think of new ideas, to think of a way to make better content that people can enjoy. So, what ended up happening is I still kept posting content every day, multiple times a day, but the content was not fresh. It was repeated content over and over again with just a little different twist. And you'll realize that when you do this, you're not actually putting in good work. Yes, you are doing the work, but the quality of it is not as great. The best part about giving yourself some time to rest is to kind of take yourself away from the work that you are doing and see it from a different lens. Because if you're constantly grinding, constantly hustling onto the next move, whatever that might be, you will see that you are just going through the motion and you are not finding new ways to do that work better. So it's very important that you don't get stuck in that productivity trap and just your whole day consists of being as productive as possible and not allowing yourself to rest. The next point is the science of rest and creativity. Why your best ideas often come when you're relaxed, in the shower, on a walk. The brain connects dots better when it's not in overdrive. And this is to kind of build on to my last point. And it's so true. There are so many times I get great content ideas when I am just relaxing. For example, the shower. I found a new way to make my workout edits unique to myself. And because of that, it happened at a time where I was just stretching in the gym, not listening to music, not thinking about what I needed to get done in the day, right? And this idea came to me today. It was just this morning when I was stretching and I was thinking, how can I make workout edits and continue to make them, but have a little different twist on them that is unique to the ones I've made previously. And I thought to myself, okay, instead of using other people's audios and other people's speeches, whatever, I'm going to use my own. I'm going to create my own writing, right, on a daily basis, my thoughts, and put that into my workout edit. And let's see how it performs. I believe it will perform very well because it's unique to me, right? And that's the thing. Sometimes all it is just separating yourself from the task at hand and giving yourself some time to be creative, to rest, right? Because if you are constantly on the go, like I said earlier, you'll realize that you're not performing your best because you are not thinking in the mind frame of how can I be more creative? How can I come up with new ideas? Because you're constantly just focusing on the next thing. The third point is the myth of wasting time. How doing nothing isn't laziness, but a strategic reset. Just like muscles grow in recovery, your mind needs downtime to operate at its peak. And this is important, and I don't want you guys to get confused because the definition of relaxing has been changed over the past couple years, right? People will say, oh, they're relaxing, but then they're doom scrolling on their phone for 2 hours, right? that's not really giving your brain any rest because it's constantly intaking this new information from the content you are watching. The whole definition of rest and what people may think is wasting time. Let's take a quick break to speak about the sponsor for the podcast. I am now working with a company called Attilius Apparel, and if you want Christian fitness wear that looks like or this, click the link in the description. Now let's get back into the podcast. Is just separating yourself from what you're doing, going on a walk, talking to a friend about new ideas, doing something that you enjoy, not something that's super hyper stimulating to your mind, because then your mind is not actually resting. Like I said earlier, your mind is kind of just in overdrive because an hour ago you were thinking about all the work you had to get done and you were focusing on so many tasks at once. And then now you're doom scrolling, and each reel you're only watching for 4 seconds at a piece, and your mind's intaking all this information. So try to have real rest and try to take time away from your what's important to you and what needs to get done, I guess, just to give yourself and your brain some time to lay back and kind of just I guess it's so true in a way that when you separate yourself from these things, you're able to decipher what was going on, because sometimes you are so overwhelmed that you don't have the answer, and you just giving yourself some rest, that answer will appear to you. The next point is the power of presence. How constantly doing distracts you from actually living. Learning to embrace stillness improves mental clarity, emotional well-being, and decision making. This is so true, and this is why the Stoics always speak about stillness. It's just being present in the moment, right? Because when you are so hyper focused on getting work done and being as productive as possible, I need a hustle over the next couple weeks to make this deadline, whatever it might be, you are never living in the present moment. And you will see that months will go by and you would have just felt like yesterday the year had started. And I feel like this majorly because now it's April. It's April 1st when you're watching this, and you'll see, holy, that these past 3 months, these last 90 days have flown by, right? And it's because you are so busy. It's because that you're trying to get so many things done, and you should be proud that you're striving for that success. But at the end of the day, you need moments in your day where you allow yourself to be present and allow yourself to realize what you're doing and what day it is, and how much things have you gotten done, and just relaxing at that point, because your time is just super, it's in overdrive in a sense, because you're constantly focused on the next thing. You don't give yourself any time to even praise yourself for what you've accomplished over these past 3 months. So, focusing on being more present on a daily basis and in your work, you will see that the days will start to go by slower. But if you're pursuing a passion and you're pursuing something you really care about, slower days always feel better. And for the last point, how to integrate rest without feeling guilty. Practical ways to build intentional rest into your routine. Scheduling unplug time, mindful walks, deep breathing, or simply daydreaming. The best way to do this is exactly like those 4 points, is scheduling it in. For example, I have a really busy day today of a lot of things I want to get done up until 8:30 p.m., right? But I know that after 8:30, and let's say I go to bed 10 or 10:30, I am not doing anything that is related to work. I am just going to focus on relaxing, winding down for the night, enjoying some peaceful time where I'm not thinking about business or content or work or whatever. I'm just going to focus on resetting and winding down for the night. This is what you should do, right? You shouldn't always just be pushing, pushing, pushing. If you're able to give yourself those checkpoints in your routine where you tell yourself, okay, at this moment, I am just going to relax and wind down, you will see that you'll be able to do better work and more creative work the next day because of that. So focus on that, my friend, integrating rest into your routine so you don't feel guilty, because most of the time you feel guilty when you're resting is because you weren't supposed to rest at that time. You're supposed to get something else done. But if you start scheduling in that rest, it will be a part of your routine where you just wind down and you won't feel guilty about it because that was one of your tasks in the day. So it's super important, my friends, to have rest in your schedule, because you will see that trying to be productive all the time will only set you back. That is all I wanted to go over for this podcast today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and follow on Spotify. Also, let me know any topics you would like me to cover in the future. And let me know what you think of the new background. I kind of switched some things up. I'm going to add some more pictures on this wall as well. So the thing is growing, it's expanding, and I can't wait for you guys to see the content that will be coming out soon. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Crush a cold to a diamond, eyes forever shining. Your beauty alone inspire a nigga to rhyming.